Hey, I just wanted to give kind of an update of what's going on at Baseball Pros, kind of the effects of what's been going over in honestly in 2020. We don't like usually to share a lot of this information just because we don't want you to have to worry about what's going on. But at the same time, like we're kind of in a spot as a company and as a service that like we're just looking for support. So I just want to walk you through kind of the process of what happened in 2020 because of the lockdown and how it's kind of affected businesses like us or even just small business in general. So when that first lockdown happened in March, we had a bunch of thousands of hours of training with large organizations like Little League and MTYAA. Different organizations have been very big supports of us, where we were going to be on field with them, teaching young kids from the t-ball age to coach pitch and beyond, with the coaches, just the training of like how to be good baseball players, how to be able to run a practice, all that stuff. Well, when that lockdown happened, all that disappeared. It's a lot of revenue for us, and also a lot of influence, being able to be with that many kids and parents and all that stuff. And with that, because of our love for these kids, as parents, seeing how we interact with the players, and all that and everything, is they end up wanting to work with us also. It's just how it kind of works is they meet us, they get to find out how much we care about these kids, and then we see the ability of these kids coming in that are a little more serious or just more interested or need some help, to do extra training, right? So we lost all the opportunity. We never saw anybody, right? Tried to do some online stuff, but it never really worked out. Fast forward with those kids not being able to play in general, is there was no instruction. We're closed until middle of June, but there was no instruction. And then as the summer went on, there was still more restrictions. These kids weren't participating in baseball. There was organizations, summer teams that did practice and actually playing tournaments across the country. But when we're talking about the normal amount of kids that would participate at least through the summertime a little bit, is their motivation was gone, right? So without motivation, without games, there was no one that wanted to do more work and prove because they weren't playing games, right? So why would you just work on something if there was no kind of carrot of, hey, if I do these movements or work on this mindset stuff, I'm going to see some results tomorrow, right? Instead, they were unmotivated, which I totally understand, which meant that there was no one coming through our doors for our private instruction. And then we throw into summer camps, going to the summer. Because of the restrictions, we had such a small group of kids we could work with safely. It was a huge success, but it was a small group of kids we're not used to, right? We lost a bunch of camps that we work with, like a third party with Cedar Springs camps and also the YMCA in Mill Creek. We lost opportunities. We had hundreds of kids signed up for this thing, and they basically had canceled them because of just the restrictions and everything like that. And then we move into the summertime, talk about summer team programs, because they weren't able to participate as many games as they expected, tournaments, hours of practice, all that stuff, is they ended up going into the tryouts or next year is crediting or refunding money back to the parents, usually because they needed it. We totally understand that. Like if there was a need for you lost a job or pay cuts, that kind of stuff, that that extra revenue, or I should say extra money, could be used somewhere else than for a summer baseball program. But that translation or that kind of trickle down was, as we talked to organizations that work with us, the budget was significantly lower. Like in the end, what they did last year to this year was a huge difference in revenue they could use our services, our facility, all that stuff. However, me and Steven Souza, as we kind of process the thing as owners, is we said we want to honor them and do everything we can to make this experience, which we know 2020 has not been great, as good as possible for these kids if we can get indoors. So we build up the protocols, we do everything we're supposed to do, social distancing, masks, rolling rotations, all that stuff, so that come wintertime, this would be efficient, safe, and productive, incredibly productive. And with that, because of how small the groups had to be, is we actually had to do more hours of training, more hours of cage rentals, and honestly make less money. And that was fine. We agreed to that. Like, hey, we just want to do this right. We just love seeing kids back in the facility, back within baseball pros. But the problem with that is, as we knew we were going to take a loss, which was fine, the budget's so small, is we started getting that flow. Everything was good, going well. We started getting instruction back in. People are starting to get excited for the 2020, 2021 season. and then our second lockdown happened. Now, we could definitely have kind of managed March going on because that's kind of outside of our busy season, but November through March, like that is where we have the most revenue. That's where we have the most people in our facility because it's dark, right? Dark early, it's rainy, no one wants to really be outside. And so losing November and December, as of right now until January 4th, as of right now until January 4th, we lost out on the opportunity of all this extra revenue on top of cage rentals, on top of training with us individually. It's all basically gone. And we can't really believe in the end, like we'll probably make that up because come March, if we kind of move everything kind of forward, like March, we start getting into baseball season and people are going to want to be outside. And so we kind of think it as a, like, that's just not going to happen. And so there's a huge kind of trickle down for businesses across the board. And I just want to share a little bit of what we've had to deal with. My staff has been unbelievable, patient. I've supported them. They've done everything we can to reach out to you guys, to say hello, to try to offer training programs. We're outside right now on Sundays, which has been a huge success safely, but it's just obviously not going to be exactly what we expected to finish up 2020. Now, in the end, how can you help? As supporters, as clients, and maybe just as fans, is number one, if you're interested at all in packages of doing training with us going into next year when we get opened up, buy now. Buy in December. Help us to make sure we have some revenue coming through so that we can sustain, if we're locked down for longer. Number two is attend our 3Ps webinar series. It starts next Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Adam Wainwright is our special guest. He just won the Roberto Clemente Award and the Hutch Award, and obviously he's been an unbelievable pitcher in the big leagues for a very, very long time and a great person to talk to. The kids are going to be able to ask questions, and we go through a mindset series that Kyle Novak and we have created. It's unbelievable. It's so much useful information. And number three, this is actually to call out to those that are in summer teams. Pay your dues to your summer programs. Because of the trickle-down effect, these summer programs that are not maybe practicing as much as they were expecting for the wintertime, or actually they don't have the ability to pay other businesses. We're talking about like vendors. We're talking about other small businesses that these summer teams provide, right? Whether it's like clothing, all that stuff, or even for us for cage rentals going in the future, the funds are really low for them because they're chasing people to pay their fees when it's really hard right now. And I get it. Now, if you obviously can't afford that, I totally understand that. But if you can pay your dues, because it does affect us. It affects us for the long-term commitment, for down deposits, all that stuff going forward. So I just want to share our hearts about kind of what we're at and kind of what our history has been over the last in 2020. We are super hopeful. We also want to honor leadership. We believe that leadership is placed there on purpose. It's not an easy decision, no matter what you believe in, and making those decisions at the highest level. But we want to honor that, and we want to trust that whatever protocols or requirements or mandates they're asking for us, that we want to do the right thing. However, it is devastating to some small businesses that have worked really hard to try to do the right thing, and still be not enough. And that's where we don't want to rely on government. We don't want to rely on bailouts. We want to rely on our communities that trust us, want us around for a long period of time. That if you can help us and help small businesses like us, please do. I just hope this is received well. We miss you. We miss all of our clients, all of our families that we haven't been able to see because of this pandemic, and we hope to see you soon.